Hello and good morning. I'm starting a chapter from history, chapter 3, Kinship, Caste and Class, the early societies from 600 BCE to 600 CE. In today's topic, I have just divided the chapter and then I'll be just dealing with three main topics today. The first is the introduction, second, the critical edition of Mahabharata, the third one is kinship and marriage, many rules and varied practices, under which we have got 5 subheadings: finding about the families, the ideal patrilineal, rules of marriage, the gotra of the women, were mothers important. So let us begin with the introduction. So we will be reading about Mahabharata in this textbook or in this chapter. Now when we talk about Mahabharata, as we all know, it is one of the most important epic and it is still used in present day. It has almost 1 lakh verses with a depiction of great scope of social categories and situations. It is one of the richest texts in the subcontinent. Especially in India, we really revert to this book. Then the epic was composed before 1000 years. Some of the stories which are written in Mahabharata are or were written before Mahabharata was composed. Then its central story describes 2 sets of warring brothers or warring cousins, that is the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Its texts carry the norms of behavior from the different social groups, what to do, what not to do, who are to rule, who are not to rule, and they divide the society into 3 or 4 sections. Then the 6th point is that in Mahabharata there is a principal character, and this principal character will be expected to follow the norms which is written in Mahabharata. The critical edition of Mahabharata. So here we are talking about how Mahabharata was edited or how it was made. So the important task of editing Mahabharata was started in the year 1919 by a Sanskrit scholar V.S. Shukhantakar. The project took around 47 years and it has 13,000 pages. Most of the changes which are there or which are made in the Mahabharata were also documented in the footnotes and appendices of the text. The text was written basically in Sanskrit by and for Brahmanas. Issue of social history, or we can say if there are some problem with the social characters or social people around 19th and 20th century, was being explored in this book. Subsequently, the scholars who wanted to study Mahabharata, they have to study other traditions from the works in Pali, Prakrit and Tamil. Now, a simple form of Sanskrit was used in Mahabharata, as Sanskrit was recognized as an authoritative language. This was a time when Sanskrit was given more importance, and this language was known or can be read by only few, that is the elite group only. Next topic is kinship and marriage, many rules and varied practices. First of all, we will be talking about the families. Now when you talk about families, we all know our family is very important. So here also they say, let us find about families. Who can be given the charge of kings, who can be given the important charges of running a society. All these things depends on the family. Now family as a part of greater network of people that may be described in our as relatives. In technical form, we just say it's as a kinfolk. In some societies, cousins were treated as blood relations, whereas in some, they don't follow this notion. For some, they can just get married. Cousins, they can marry, whereas for some, cousins are blood brothers. So that is all about finding out from families. Now the ideal of patrilineal. Now when you look at Mahabharata, it is an ancient story, but it describes something very different. That is, there are 2 cousin brothers, Kauravas and Pandavas. The reason between their fight was, to show who is powerful, and the crisis over land means both the Kauravas and Pandavas, they wanted to show that we can dominate a part of a land, or we can dominate an area. Now in patrilineal system, sons were given the property, or they can claim the property and wealth. After the death of father, the throne also can be given to the eldest son. Now continuing with the ideal of patrilineal, in the 6th century BCE onwards, main ruling dynasties had to follow some differentiation which were in practice. Okay, they don't follow whatever is written in the Mahabharata. They do, or they follow something which they like it. Okay, so now some exceptional cases such as Prabhavati Gupta was also in power. Now Prabhavati Gupta, as you all know, she is the only daughter of a king, but now she got the inheritance of land. She got the power to inherit land, transfer the land, but this system was not welcomed by many of the people who were living during their time. Okay, that is all about the ideal of patrilineal. Now let us move to rules of marriages. We all know marriage is one of the important time of any family. So here marriages of daughter should be made outside the kin. Means a daughter cannot be married within the relatives. This was known as exogamy. Exogamy means outside the kin. Now girls and women who belong to high status, they have to get married, and at the right time. Not only that, they also have to see who is the right person. So in the olden days, or in Mahabharata, you might have seen Swayambar or this and that. That means what? They are selecting the right person. Third, the Brahmanas delivered this response of marrying with the laying down of some rules of social behavior in details. The Brahmanas, they took the charge of getting the right person or marrying a right person, and then they wrote so many things, so many items about who can marry whom, all this thing. All rules were arranged in Sanskrit and was known as Dharma Sutras and Dharma Shastras. The Manusmriti was arranged between c. 200 BCE and 200 CE. The Dharma Shastras and Dharma Sutras manage 8 types of marriages which was practiced in that time. So the next topic is the Gotra of a woman. Now the term Gotra, some of us we already know what is Gotra. Now according to the Vedic seer, now Gotra has to be it plays a very important role in selecting the husband. Okay, a person from the same means a person belonging to the same Gotra, they cannot get married. So here let us see the points. Each Gotra was known after a Vedic seer, means from where do they get this name, the Gotra name? It is because of one of the most important person in the beginning, Gautami Gotra, and this and that. In that way it will be coming. Now you decide, or you just ask your parents that which Gotra you belong to. Christians, you don't have it. Islam religion, I am not sure about this, but Hindus, they have Gotra. So those people who are Hindus, you can ask your parents that which Gotra you belong to and how you got this name. That will be your small activity to be done at home as you go through this chapter. Now people belong to the same Gotra were considered as his ancestors were same. Now women were bounded to give up their father's Gotra and adopt the husband's on marriage. So whoever belongs to one Gotra, after the marriage, the girl will not continue with that Gotra. She have to give up and jump into the husband's Gotra. Now members, as I told you, members of the same Gotra could not marry, but there are always some kind of exception. Some Satavahana rulers were polygynous, means they marry number of people. So now they got their names from father's gotra. So now endogamy, a marriage within the kin group, succeeded in many communities in South India. Now just before this we have done exogamy. Exogamy is a marriage where you have to marry outside your relatives, but endogamy is a type of marriage where you can marry within your relatives. So we have 8 forms, so these are the 2. Our next topic is where mothers important. So it seems like this question is very inappropriate, but yes, this question was asked because of the topic. And in this topic you will find that some people had given so much of importance to the mother, whereas some have no mercy on mother, or they never obey mother's advice. So let's see what happened here. The names of Satvana rulers, means whoever is a ruler of Satvana, they obtain their names from mother, and they were known as metronymics. In Satvana dynasty, transmission of throne was usually patrilineal. Now when you say patrilineal means what? It goes to the it comes from the father's side, okay, or it is always given to the son. Now from here it seems that mothers were not very important then, but before reaching any conclusion we should keep in mind that the succession of throne in Satvana kings were generally patrilineal. So that is what we just said. Another example that we can take is the example of Gandhari. Now when Gandhari asked her son that no need to go and fight with the Pandavas, he did not obey it. He just said, no, it is my life, I will do whatever I like. So at last you saw what happened. Pandavas and Kauravas, they fought, in which the Kauravas have to face consequences. Okay.